Hi, I'm Allison, and this is Learning Literature. Today, we're not going to be discussing a specific piece. Instead, I'm going to give some advice about how to start reading Shakespeare. This came out of the fact that when I was in high school, I did not enjoy Shakespeare. This is surprising because I was a really good student and I particularly liked English classes, but I really disliked all of the Shakespeare that we read. I was particularly surprised then, years later, when I found out that my husband loved Shakespeare, and it was all because of the high school readings that he had done. I thought I had probably done something wrong and missed what was so great about Shakespeare. So I gave it another chance, and I was wrong. Shakespeare is great. When you get to know Shakespeare, though, you realize that it's not usually the plots that are particularly good about Shakespeare, and it can be a frustrating distraction when you're trying to get to know the play to also be confused about the plot. So the first piece of advice that I have is before you read a Shakespeare play, learn the basic plot of it ahead of time. And you can do this by just reading any summary that you search online, but I suggest reading the Charles and Mary Lamb Tales from Shakespeare. They take about 20 of Shakespeare's plays and have turned them into short stories. So instead of just reading a summary, you're getting the fun of reading a story with the drama that comes with it. And they've also retained some of Shakespeare's language. So it's a great way to get introduced to a few of the phrases or particularly evocative language that Shakespeare will use in a play. Okay, so once you have learned the basic plot of the play, you might think it's time to go ahead and read the play. But I have another suggestion first. My husband pointed out that Shakespeare wrote his plays so that people would watch them, not read them. They're meant to be viewed, so your first experience with the play should probably be watching it. If you can go see the play live somewhere, that's fantastic. Go do it. But if you can't, it's fine. There are a ton of recordings that you can just stream in any way that you like to. If you're feeling overwhelmed with how many choices there are, you can either do a little research and try to find one that will suit your taste, or just grab the first one, start it, and if it's not good after 10 minutes, just find a different one. For some suggestions, a lot of people's first introduction to Shakespeare is Romeo and Juliet. I really like the Baz Luhrmann movie from the 1990s. It has an interesting feel and look to it. The acting is good. It retains all of Shakespeare's language, but gives it a modern setting. And it has maybe what I've seen of the best first meeting between Romeo and Juliet to make them falling in love at first sight a little more reasonable. Or maybe your first introduction is A Midsummer Night's Dream. I really like the Julie Taymor filming of a play that she directed. It's Julie Taymor, so the costumes are amazing. It's visually so interesting the whole time, and it's really funny. So you can just relax, sit back, and laugh because they do a great job with the comedy. So you have now read a summary of the play, you've watched a performance. It is finally time to start reading the play. Another mistake that I made in high school was I thought you were supposed to understand everything from the play. So every character's motivation, every single vocabulary word, I was fighting to try to figure out. And it was overwhelming and incredibly not fun. Don't make that mistake. When you start reading a Shakespeare play, have a reasonable expectation. You already know the plot, so you know the basic characters. Now you're just going to come in and try to enjoy some of the language. I think a reasonable goal is to try to enjoy one or two lines in every scene. Maybe there's a really good insult. Maybe there's a really beautiful statement of love. Maybe it's a particularly good insight into human motivations. Find something that you like in almost every scene. If you do that, you'll have finished the play with a whole bunch of lines that you thought were good in some way and hopefully memorable. You'll also realize that there's a lot left in the play that you didn't really get, and that's fine. It gives you something to look forward to if you want to come back and enjoy it a second or a third time. There's a lot of depth in Shakespeare and a lot of confusion. So there are a lot of reasons to keep coming back to it. And that's a joy that you can hopefully keep enjoying in your life. If you're starting a Shakespeare play and you want a recommendation of what movie to watch, just ask in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button.